Well, here we go. Cars warming on the line, but only one of them. And that is because, unfortunately, we're already getting a buy run. News from the paddock just moments ago that Adam Zalewski, unfortunately, is retired from competition due to some engine issues. And yesterday, we spoke about it in qualifying. It didn't seem like that car had the power to get out of some of those tight zones, those uphill sections, that cambered part of the circuit. And I went and spoke to him earlier on, and he was rushing around with his team, trying to get it fixed. And unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done in time. So we do lose Adam Zalewski out, but we do have James Dean coming off the line.
And I mean, really for James Dean, this is a shakedown run. This is to make sure that after that incident yesterday, the car is at form. He didn't actually take a ton of damage, but the back end of that car did take something. So you can go and realign everything, but it can shake bolts loose. It can turn the wheels in improper directions. It can bend brake lines. So for him, nobody wants to win a battle this way, but to take a little bit of pressure off the team, now they can make sure everything is running, check it all again, and be ready for the next battle.
Yeah, they certainly can. And James Dean was sitting with 11 points coming into this. Look, if Lady Luck, if the Irish luck is on his side this weekend, he could be leading this championship as we walk away from Spain. But hey, this is early doors yet. This is Driftmaster, so anything can happen. There we go. We make it official as we slide it across, and James Dean advances through to our top 16. And we start to get through the action now as we get more cars warmed up down on the back of the grid, ready to rock and roll. And a man that I put money on yesterday and said he was looking like a superstar. This young Frenchman showed his hand before at Driftmasters, but now this weekend he's come for business. A full driver for 2025, Jason Benet, sits in the lead position as the higher qualifier against Diogo Correa. Sorry, no, Diogo Correa was the higher qualifier in 16th position, but he's opted to go. This is going to catch me out, Jacob.
Yeah, it's all good. We got to get used to this.
So Diogo Correa has opted now to go in the chase position as the higher qualifier. So I apologise now for making mistakes because this is going to get a little confusing for everybody. Right, Jason Benet, the lower qualifier, has been handed the torch by Diogo Correa and said, hey, why don't you lead first?
Yeah, and we can speculate a little bit as we go as to why certain drivers are making certain moves. In this case, I don't have a lot of idea why. It might just be, let's just see what happens.
Exactly that. We get the green light ready to rock and roll as we've moved that start line right back where it needs to be. Through the gears they come as Jason Benet flicks that Subaru BRZ 2JZ powered across the circuit. That Mercedes-Benz powered BMW E92 of Diogo Correa stalls up and checks up on that outside zone. Now starts to get himself back in the fight as Benet puts that car right to the edge of circuit. Some lost ground from Diogo Correa, and he's trying to make it up. He's on a cleaner lead line as he comes around that last outside zone. Exactly that. So there we go. Correa pulls up to the line now to lead out Jason Benet. And this is going to be so interesting as we travel through 2025 with this start line procedure now as we've mixed it up. And you can see how we've now removed the chicane. 8 metres back sits Jason Benet, and Correa given 1 second to cross that line before breaking the beam. And now Benet jumps onto the back bumper of that BMW. Correa absolutely up and gone as he puts foot to floor, fires through the outside zone. Down he comes, but Benet not letting him get too far away. He would have known by the spots he needs to stay on the back wheel. And now Benet starts to rein him in. The Portuguese driver under some pressure here from the Frenchman as he sticks it to the rear wheel. And now Benet really going for the dive as he gets it to the door across the line. The crowd enjoying the views, the sights and the sounds of Driftmasters 2025. Slide them left for Jason Benet and right for Diogo Correa, who's going to take it through, and it looks like it will be the Frenchman of Jason Benet gets the win, advances through to the top 16, unanimous by our judges. And yeah, to be honest, I think it came down to the chase more than anything, to be honest with you. I think it was all on the chase.
And Laurie Heinonen taking that lead spot. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the battle I called out. And I wondered if a lot of the older drivers would stay with what they know.
I think so.
The original format. Will they stick to what they know? Lead first, chase second.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that from a lot of these guys. They sit on the line ready to go. And look at this Cherba, cool, calm and collected, relaxed inside the car. The Lithuanian driver absolutely focused on what the job is in at hand as he needs to chase down the 2024 current reigning and defending champion of Laurie Heinonen from Finland. Through the start line they go, sorry, no chicane anymore. Through the gears down as Laurie Heinonen, big clutch kick, flicks that 180SX to angle. But there's no chance that Cherba's going to let him get away, and almost takes a back bumper off the back end of that S13 as he now makes another dive. And Cherba knows he can rely on the Finnish driver to push it to the limit. And look at the angle from Laurie Heinonen as he absolutely throws caution to the wind and puts the car right where it needs to be and across the line. I like to chase first, so I'm going to chase first. That's my bag, especially if you're not the greatest qualifying line driver. A lot of these guys prefer to chase. Here we go, Heinlein sitting 8 meters away from the back end, or the beginning, the start of that BMW E92 as Cherba now put into that lead position. We expect Laurie Heinlein to give him a good chase as he starts to creep already. They get the green light, Cherba breaks that beam, and we get all clear, ready to send. Through the gears goes Benedictus Cherba as he flicks that E92 across the circuit. Heinlein with a big clutch kick. Oh, a shallow wobble there from both guys, and almost impact as Laurie Heinlein absolutely backs that car in, rear wheel to rear wheel. They both flick on angle. It's scrappy from both at the moment. Oh, and then come down, contact.
Well, it looks like Cherba was really checking up. He's kind of past the decel zone. And then I go back to some of the rule set and say, well, was Laurie still made the contact?
Well, there we go. The decision's in, and it's going to be Laurie Heinlein, ladies and gentlemen, taking it through to the top 16.
We are very close by. So, yeah, we should probably apply for that paperwork now.
Yeah. And it's a long run in as well. So
yeah.
If it grew wings, it'd be gone back to Finland. Right, off to Estonia we go, because that's who's on the line. It is, of course, the one and only Oliver Randalou. He's going to be taking on Jakob Kroll. Jakob Kroll will pull up as the usual formation. So the usual formation falling into hand here. Oliver Randalou, the higher qualifier, sitting in 9th place. Jakob Kroll yesterday telling us that he wasn't feeling comfortable. The car wasn't feeling the greatest, but did a good job in qualifying, managed to get himself into the show, and now he starts to creep already off that line, and through the gears they go as Oliver Randalou leads them in that yellow E46 BMW. A nice flick to angle. Oh, look at this from Randalou, absolutely up and gone, but he's shallow on the outside zone. Big handbrake drag down into 4 as Jakob Kroll on the inside of the circuit trying to make up some lost ground. And Oliver Randalou is absolutely disappearing in the distance as Jakob Kroll has nothing left in this battle. He just can't hang with Oliver Randalou as they take it across the line. Teams have said, like, look, the car's fine, let's just get out and practice and try and do the best we can. We're back on the line with Oliver Randalou now in the chase position. As you can see, Jakob Kroll in that carbon Kevlar S15 off the line. Through the gears they come down, and Jakob Kroll very slow. Looks like a big wobble from the front wheel there for Jakob Kroll, and you can see it. The initiation held back Oliver Randalou as he now flicks in a little wobble. He's shallowed up the angle. Both guys struggling to get to outside zone 4. As now Oliver Randalou makes the dive, pushes up onto the front wheel with that S15 as they fire through down into outside zone 7. More pressure applied from the Estonian as he now works his way right onto the door and across the line. It's a holiday. We're going to Spain. We'll have a holiday. Well, here we go, decisions in from the judges. Slide them left for Oliver Randalou, or right for Jakob Kroll. Look at this, Kroll already knows it's going to be Randalou. Oh, but it's a split decision. Oliver Randalou gets the win. One judge going for a one more time. Not as clear cut for him, but the other two deciding that Oliver Randalou will be the guy that goes through to the top 16, the main show. And they'll be very, very happy with that.
Deserves a lot of light here because Yves Meyer's on a heater.
Yeah.
Completely new driver this year.
But hey, you've missed it. Jack Shanahan's decided to lead.
Oh.
Jack Shanahan decided to lead, and now there was something telling me inside Shanahan was going to chase first.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because I know they've been working through a lot of different things. Like why not chase and
there's been a lot
intensity.
of discussion down in the Shanahan paddock about, is there a game plan? Should we mix it up? Should we try it out?
I think they double switched on you.
Yeah.
And said this is it, and then went back on
the other way. Well, there we go on the line. Jack Shanahan to lead out. Yves Meyer from Switzerland as they fire through the gears. Look at this, Yves Meyer onto the back bumper at GTA 6 already. But Shanahan's fast, but Yves Meyer's got the pace and the car to hang with him as they fire through. Yves Meyer perfectly timed the transition. Look at the dive from Yves Meyer as he now applies the pressure all over the side of that Toyota GT86. They fire through. It's a Toyota on Toyota affair out there on track as now Yves Meyer goes for the kill one more time across the line.
This was the day that I took down
Watch
Jack
this.
Shanahan.
You know Jack Shanahan, that guy that's like he won everything in the world?
Yeah.
Oh look, I was on his door. There was no,
it was Spain.
Couldn't get away.
It was Spain 2025.
Well, here we go. They're back on the line. Yves Meyer now will be full of confidence as we see those amber lights illuminate. He goes green, he jumps off the line, breaks that beam, and Shanahan's going to be in the car thinking, well, I need to pull it all out of the bag. Oh, look at the flick from Yves Meyer. Big clutch kick as he puts that GR Super across the circuit. But Shanahan not letting him get away. The spotters would have told him that he needs to be all over the side of that blue Super as they come down, pick up the zones, and Yves Meyer doing an incredible job out front, puts that car to angle, comes down, picks up the inner zone. Shanahan onto the door, onto the rear bumper.
Oh man, yeah, it's really interesting. maybe we'll get into more about what the Wally system's saying after we get our judges' decision to see how it all stacks up.
Yeah, well, here we go. Left for Shanahan, right for Eves Meyer. It's 1 for Shanahan. It's going to be 2. It's going to be Jack Shanahan taking it through to the top 16. Eves Meyer bows out of competition, but my God, that guy is on a heater this year, and I expect big things from the man from Switzerland. Joe, as we go back on the line, well, to a guy from Finland and a guy from Norway, this one could end in any way possible.
Yeah.
2 of the biggest Toyotas on the grid. It will be Oran Nilsson to lead out Jarkko Jula from Finland in this crazy JZX 100. He puts a thumb up to the camera. The wild card in Finland a few years back, now back for a full season in 2025, and the cool, calm collectiveness of Oran Nilsson slams the car in gear, gets ready to break that beam as the light goes green for Oran Nilsson. You can see the hammer drop, and look at Jarkko Jula already there, already up alongside as he falls into formation. A big flick from Nilsson as he now puts foot to floor, starts to try and drive away from Jarkko Jula. Down they come, nice line, both in formation into outside zone 4 as they pick up the throttle back. Up and down the hill they come as Jarkko Jula just hangs back ever so slightly, gives Oran Nilsson some room to manoeuvre, but now makes a dive as they get it across the line. Those guys, they go hard for their Finnish drivers.
I'm very excited to experience that.
Well, here we go, Jarkko Jula pulls to the line, told to stop by a start line marshal Marcin. He's back for us for 2025. Look at the positioning of Oran Nilsson. He knows what he wants to do. He wants to dive across the circuit, get straight on the back bumper of that JZX 100. That car looks beautiful.
It looks so good.
Such a clean, precise build, and so well put together.
They kept the rear doors working too, so they can access everything. There's a huge benefit to that.
Yeah, they're clever.
When you have to work on it, like you just open the back door, you crawl in the back.
Just get in the back.
Can't do that with the Supra.
No, you can't. You can't do that with the Supra.
Good luck working in the back of the Supra.
Well, here we go. Anti-lag firing as the gears are slamming through. They go down off that start line. Jarkko Jula looks like he's a little slower compared to Oran Nilsson. As Oran Nilsson already over the back bumper, already over the side of the car as he flicks it through. Oran Nilsson already losing body panels. They slow for outside zone 4 and then catches Nilsson out as Jula now on a nice line. Gets that car right to the outside edge of the circuit. Oran Nilsson goes for a big dive. Down the inside he goes. Tries to put that Sora right to the front wheel and he does. Tags the door 1, 2, 3 times. Maybe
he's rethinking that one mistake.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Oh, and we could have a split. Oh, and it's going to be a one more time, a split decision. David Kalas thought that Oran Nilsson was going to get it. Vernon and Matthias, well, they thought that it was a one more time. I mean, look, from my side of the board, maybe better to go with the one more time.
Yeah.
We go back to the start line to Connor Shanahan to take on a good friend of his, Clint Van Ort.
Yeah. Very, very excited for this one. Had a great conversation with Clint and his family last night. They fed me a traditional Dutch dish, and it was. I was hanging out. I'm trying to just get in with all the
culture.
I had coffee in the morning with the Shanahans.
Yep.
I had dinner in the evening with the Van Orts. I'm everywhere, man. If there's a free meal, I'm right there.
You're just here for the food, is that it? Is that it?
The drifting's an added bonus.
Oh, okay, there we go. Right, Clint Van Ort in that brand new chassis for 2025. Looks the same as 24, but it is a brand new build, a brand new car, and he said it works better than ever. He's so happy with the chassis. Shanahan back in that GT86, and look at this from Van Ort. He knows that Shanahan's fast as he now creeps through.
Ooh.
Oh,
Restart.
and we get a restart.
You can see those red flashing lights. So
yeah.
Restart is triggered.
Like, look, door shut this time. No
Yeah.
messing around. He's going to walk up, give him the thumbs up, then he's going to press the light. And you'll see that light count down. As soon as it goes green, Shanahan has to break the beam. Can't jump before it. Look at the light. We're not. But there we go. We get a green light this time as they are through and down they come through the gears. Clint Van Ort, a bit of separation now. That restart may have shook Clint Van Ort ever slightly, but he's trying to get himself back into the fight. Now he's hustling and bustling, trying to get down, and he's going to make contact with the front wheel. Oh, wow! How did Clint Van Ort keep himself out of trouble there? As Clint Van Ort is absolutely hustling and tussling, trying to get himself back into that fight, onto the rear wheel he jumps. This is scrappy from Van Ort, but he gets himself in the question.
That restart,
yeah.
That's going to mess with your head a bit. A lot of these drivers have a pattern when they get up to the line. They do something, they check the gear, they'll pull the e-brake to make sure it's working. They have a very set pattern and ritual in the car. That'd make it a great segment, just looking at the start line rituals, all these drivers.
Yeah,
but having to restart, you know, it kind of messes with your mojo a little bit.
It does. It does mess with these guys' mojo because they have to go back, start again, and do all of that over again. As Clint Van Ort now sits in that lead position. And off the line he goes. Connor Shanahan would have been told, look, it was scrappy. We still need to stay with him. Big click, big flick from Clint as he fires that car through now. Clint Van Ort starts to pull some ground on Shanahan. You can see Shanahan trying to get that car where it needs to be, but Van Ort struggles to get to outside zone 4. He's trying to pull away from Shanahan. You can see the pace of the car, pulling the body panels clean off that S14 as Clint Van Oort once again back on throttle. Big clutch kick up the hill he goes and across the line.
No one needs that. But yeah.
I didn't have any handbrake. I was trying to move.
Oh, he had no handbrake.
So there we go.
That's
I think
why.
we figured out the issue straight away. He had no handbrake.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then. Why he couldn't get into four, tried to grab the handbrake, wasn't able to. Probably had to clutch kick it in, so, or lock up all the brakes. And
there we
Connor
go.
Shanahan.
Yeah, decision's in. Shanahan gets the win. He's breathes a sigh of relief. We go back to the start line. It's going to be Kevin Piscotty to take on Alexei Golovnia from Ukraine. Piscotty was a man that, at the beginning of the weekend, I kind of said, could it be the weekend for him? Because Piscotty's looking good. He's looking on form. He's feeling confident. 300 more horsepower underneath the bonnet of this BMW E92. It's Kevin Piscotty. Awaits the battle with Alex Golovnia. Piscotty choosing to lead as well, so he knows exactly what he needs to do as Golovnia now starts to creep already. Piscotty off that start line, big clutch kick across the circuit, then opens up all the power off that V8. Oh, look at this from Golovnia, fires that car, almost throws two wheels off circuit. It's deep. Oh, it's a big one. As he rips the wheels off the car.
Literally. Okay, wow, that ended as good as it could have, considering what was going on. But Piscotty, very, very quick off the launch there. I don't want to say I'm not surprised, but I was worried as soon as he came to that first outside zone of how fast he was going.
We're down back on the line to kick off the first battle of the other half of our bracket of top 32, and it will be Pontus Hartmann with a bye run. Unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier, Bjorn Weicek unable to make it back into competition for today. And Pontus Hartmann, look, he puts his hands in the air, and I interviewed him, and he said, this is not what I wanted.
No.
I wanted to do it on the tarmac. I wanted to go fair and square. And we're going to see a very cool shot here as we go on board with Pontus Hartmann live as we see it live from the drone.
Yeah, and you can really see what the inputs are like. So there's the e-brake drag as you're looking in the right-hand corner and how that pushes the car out. Look how calm he is, a couple of small corrections with the wheel. Nothing too major, though. As he transitions, grabbing the e-brake even before the transition happens helps break the rear end of the car free to get it to slide around. But great job through there. Another little e-brake pull to whip it back. And I mean, a solid run. Qualifying-wise, that's like a top 10 qualifier just for a bye run.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Getting the job done and practice this morning as well early.
Comes out for the fans.
Yeah, of course. These guys are showmen, right? They love to get out for the fans, give them a big wave, and we do make it official as Pontus Hartmann will get the win and advance through to the top 16. No. Ite said the higher qualifier, sitting in 15th position. Marco Zaccaril down in 18th. Will he swap it up? And he does.
There you go.
And I knew he would. And I had this feeling the young guys are going to play. They're going to play the games.
So the young drivers are probably used to chasing first more, because as you come up, you're not going to be qualifying super high right out of the gate. There's obviously a bunch of
timer clock here at Drift Masters, and you know the rules by now if you've been following. Our start line Marshall Martin's down there with him and the rest of the Drift Masters team. Does it look like he's going to get it to the line?
I'm not sure.
Oh, and I think he's bent a steering arm already. Oh, he's bent a steering arm, warming the car up in the tyre warming area. This guy can never get a break.
Oh. It's so unfortunate. Yeah, and yeah, nobody wants to win this way. Nobody wants to lose this way, that's for sure. I think it speaks to a few things here. One, how insanely grippy these tires are.
Yeah.
That if there's any question as to how much bite in these tires.
I'm going to say as well, it's how grippy the track has got.
Right.
Because the tyre warming area will probably have about the same amount of rubber on it as the rest of the track. If it's bending steering arms, warming the tyres, how sticky is that track right now?
Yeah, it's super sticky. It gives you a lot of advantages when you need to catch the car. A lot of disadvantages, though, because you're going to be going faster than what you might expect. So
yeah,
your
which
timing,
is probably what caught Kevin Piscotty out.
Yeah, your timing is different now, and we're talking about a tenth of a second in a lot of cases, a fraction of a millisecond, you know, almost nothing. But here, when we're running this close to everything, that millisecond is the difference between filling the zone and, you know, hitting the wall. So,
well, this is just going to be, for clarification, And it's job done already for Ite, so that all he has to do is initiate on that first corner. He doesn't need to make a full pass of the circuit. He has to prove that that car works, and he can initiate, and he did that. So he will advance through to the top 16. But again, this track is throwing up some real surprises.
And the track surface itself is quite nice. Like, it's not overly aggressive. It's not tearing the tires to shreds. It's that. So it's
Marco Zaccaril
really fast now.
There we go as we jump on board with Ite Seta for a run of the track as he puts himself into top 16. Marco Zaccaril, I mean,
unfortunate.
I have no words. He's been so close before. We see it time and time again. This guy very close to success.
One more. Is everything straight? Is everything ready to go?
Well, here we go. Back on the line we go. And it's going to be Connor Falvey to take on Jakub Przgonski. And you're right. That car does look just how it did on Friday morning for the photo shoot as Przgonski sits in the car, geared up, ready to go. But he's going to be taking on the Rookie of the Year in 2024. It is, of course, Drift Game's very own Connor Falvey, a man that's feeling very confident. His dad said, look, he came here last year, all he wanted to do was qualify. He said to his dad, this weekend, all I want to do this year is win.
Oh, step up. Now, Falvey, though, taking the lead.
Yeah, Falvey taking the lead, decided to take that lead position, stick to the old way as he fires that car in, that S15, up and gone as he puts foot to floor, that carbon Kevlar S15, not messing around, but out of the smoke. From nowhere comes Jakub Przgonski, he's going wide, contact, hits the rear wheel, puts them both into a spin. So we are going to get that information, and we are being told that Jakub Przgonski is at fault for the contact. Right, here we go. So we're going to move it along. Obviously, we're going to wait for Connor Falvey. He'll be back down in the paddock. He will be awarded a 10-minute competition timeout to get that car checked out or repaired.
Great.
Right, here we go. Scrappy last time from both guys in the chase position. The leads weren't 110%, but those nerves are now calmed after that first battle. Can these guys get it done in this first one more time battle? Aaron Nielsen opts to lead first, the higher qualifier. Jarko Euler pulls up to the line to chase down the Norwegian driver. And Jarko Euler probably thinking, well, I know what I need to do. We've watched back the footage from the first battle. I need to be closer, I need to be cleaner. He gives a thumbs up to a start line marshal, bangs that car into gear as they go through the gears now. Off the start line they go. Jarko Euler still not into formation, waits for that flick across the circuit and takes a little closer dive down. As Aaron Nielsen puts that car right where it needs to be. It's scrappy once again from Jarko Euler, a little wandering and wavering, no proximity at the moment from the Finnish driver as Aaron Nielsen puts that car right to the edge of the circuit. Now Jarko Euler starts to gain some ground, but he's still not in the conversation as Nielsen takes it across the line to the door. Jarko Euler takes this weird line across the track and kind of fires the car in. I don't think it's working for him as much as he'd like. And as we can see, body panel.
But it might work in the lead.
Yeah.
Right, that's one of those things. It might end up working in the lead, and we'll have to see here as our start line crew disassembling a bit of Aaron Nielsen's
quite renowned for taking weight out of his car throughout the competition.
Okay,
it will just be a roll cage by the end of the year.
Great strategy.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's good. Yeah,
because really they only have to weigh in at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
not at the end of the event.
There we go. Aaron Nielsen sits on the line, ready to rock and roll. Oh, we've got some smoke from under the bonnet. More drama on the start line down there as Marcin has a look to investigate if there could be fire. Potentially could just be chunks of rubber that come off the wheel into the manifold.
It looked like the turbo or the manifold that was smoking just a little bit as they're already snapping those latches back down. That does happen quite a lot. A lot of rubber gets flung up and it can find its way into some unique places.
Yeah, and it looks like Marcin, he doesn't want to put his hand in there. I don't blame him. A red hot exhaust manifold.
I thought his hands were basically made of stone at this point. He's had to work. Arguably, this man has worked on more cars than anybody else in this paddock.
Yes, he is way more knowledgeable than any mechanic. So yeah, there is rubber on the manifold, and our start line marshal Marcin just needs to get in there and remove it. He's knocked it through down to the floor.
He needs his own YouTube channel.
A garage.
Like just can we just throw it? Yeah, can we just throw a camera on him?
Constantly, like a body cam.
Yeah, and just let him run
like
around
a security
and see what his day's
guard.
like. Yeah.
You're like, no, you're not coming past. You broke the beam. You're out of here.
That'd be
You're done.
great.
You're barred for life.
It would be funny, too, because he's a hilarious man.
He's a good guy. He's a very good guy, and he's been with us for many, many years. Look at this, Warren Nielsen. He's aggressive, and look at him popping the front of that Sora up as he now tries to put the pressure on Jarkko Ulla already. Onto the back bumper he goes, and look at this from Warren Nielsen as he now finds that proximity as they come firing through. Two big body Toyotas going door to door as they come down to outside zone 4. A little ground loss there for Warren Nielsen. He has to shallow up the angle, but now he makes a dive across the circuit. They fire it through as Warren Nielsen once again makes a big dive for the door, tags the door of the JZX100 across the line. But, well, here it is. Looks like it's in. And who's it going to be? Slide them left for Warren Nielsen. Warren Nielsen gets the win, advances through to the top 16. We see Jarkko Ulla out of competition. And, yeah, a tough judging decision, but they were all unanimous in the end. And those guys know what they wanted to see. And I think overall it came down to the good aggression, the good proximity in the chase from Warren Nielsen and a nice, clean lead line. We go back to the start line to only one car on the grid, and the news broke as Becky was doing that interview. Unfortunately, Dave Egan, we heard the story. The stone went through the timing cover. It made the timing belt jump a tooth. They damaged the cylinder head. They got the car back together, but unfortunately I'm being told that the car wouldn't start to get to the start line. And of course, that start line clock started when Juha Poitalaxco had warmed his tyres and pulled to the line. So it will be a bye run for the Finnish driver, Juha Poitalaxco, who will go through to the top 16. And a sad exit for Dave Egan after such a momentous occasion yesterday of, you know, getting into qualifying, getting into the top 32. Oh. And we're seeing Dave Egan make his way to the start line. So hold on a minute. This could be a complete change. I'm not sure how this plays out now. Was there still time on the clock? That is the... Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to throw Dave Egan completely under the bus here, but I'm going to give everyone a little insight into how things run at Drift Masters. Normally, we make our way to the commentary booth, you know, a good 10, 15 minutes before we go live.
Right.
I would always get the call from the producers in my ear saying, hey, Ian, we're going live in 5 minutes. They'd be like, where's Dave? I'd be like, Dave's on his way. 30 seconds before we go live, Dave Egan would show up in his seat and they'd say, Dave just made it. I tell you what, nothing changes for Dave Egan, but because he is just about
not
made
sound
it.
good.
But it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound happy.
There it goes. I think it just needed a little bit of a break-in. Look at, Dave was not going to go for this, and then he got it into the revs. He was like, maybe. Is he going for it?
I think Dave.
No.
I think he's going to go for it. Well, it looks like
Dave pulls
that
the
bye
line.
run that we assumed was going to happen is now not going to happen because Dave Egan made it to the line with seconds to spare for his first ever battle here at Drift Masters. It's always drama.
The most Dave Egan thing you could do.
Yeah,
just when you thought it was over.
Turn up just in time.
Yeah.
Dramatically, and make everyone go, oh, he's here.
Just when you thought all hope was gone.
Well, you know, Poitalaxco was sitting on that line thinking maybe he had 1 foot in the top 16. Now he's got to work for it. Poitalaxco sits in the lead position, and he is going to lead out Dave Egan for a spot in the top 16 away. As Egan starts to creep the line, and we're going to get this battle underway. Egan comes off the line. It doesn't look good as Poitalaxco flicks that car in, and that car doesn't want to react. And Poitalaxco fires through and will complete the run. Drops out of outside zone 4 though. It's scrappy from Juha Poitalaxco in that lead position. Works his way around down into outside zone 7. Comes in to pick up this inner zone, and across the line goes Poitalaxco, and Egan nowhere to be seen. Yeah, and there we go. Look, Juha Poitalaxco pulls to the line. I think Dave Egan going to retire that carbon Kevlar GR Supra. And yeah, and there we go, it's official in my ears. Dave Egan, it does retire from competition. That car's still not happy. Work to be done, but you know what? It shows the resilience of that team down there in the paddock and everybody else who probably jumped in and helped to get Dave back out on track and out for his first ever top 32 battle. Not the way he would have wanted his 2025 campaign to kick off. Juha Poitalaxco's like, do I need to do the bye run? What do I need to do?
Yeah, and they asked, do you want to do it? And he just, yes.
Yes, I want to do it, yeah.
Why not? Put down more laps, get more data.
Of course, yeah. Find out what's going on track, what the track conditions are. Look, it's been so up and down for a lot of these guys. And me and you are going, oh, it could be this, it could be that. But I wish we could get out there and get some real life data.
Yeah. I mean, I would be very afraid to run one of these cars at this track. I'd be afraid to drive any car around this track.
Yeah.
I was afraid to drive a car around this track. But Juha Potalexo, not the case. All he wants to do is drive his car around this track, and I don't blame him. Hopefully, though, he can clean up zone 4. I know it's a bye run. I get it.
Yeah.
Not going at it, but I'm hoping he cleans it up a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to need to do work there on outside zone 4, especially as he moves forward in competition. We don't know who he's going to be battling just yet. We've still got to finish that second half of the run between Conor Falvey and Jakub Puszczonski. He does have to initiate to prove that the car works.
That's our line, huh?
That's our line.
That's our line.
You have to initiate to prove the car works. You don't have to fulfill the full run of the circuit or all of the zones, but you do have to prove to the judges it works. And there we go. The decision's in. It is official. Juha Potalexo into top 16. Unfortunately, we lose Dave Egan. We go back on the line to this one. Listen,
This is a good one,
I said to
too.
the producers, I want to pick more than one highlight, but they said, no, calm down, stop it. We've only got time for one. This was one of my highlights, pick-outs. Our third-place qualifier, Torane Kavir, sits in the lead position.
Right.
Again,
Higher
another
qualifier.
guy sticking to what he knows. He sits alongside, though, a man that is... His trophy cabinet is stacked. His list of events that he's done is stacked. He punches a steering wheel. He's the one and only Juha Rittinen in this incredible GR86. Rittinen's been there. He's done it all. He wants to take on Kavir, and he's going to give him one hell of a fight as they fire through. Look at this from Kavir. The Norwegian young gun puts that car right where it needs to be, and pop through the smoke comes Juha Rittinen. He's down on the inside though, and he makes that dive. He pulls it off as Rittinen glues it to the side of that 180SX. And now Kavir knows that Rittinen's there. He can hear that 2JZ screaming as Rittinen makes a mistake, drop down, takes down the cone, but he's on the bumper across the line. He just needs to keep it clean now. He knows that he can trust Rittinen. Rittinen, like I say, been there, done it. Probably one of the oldest drivers on the grid. He knows that Rittinen's going to lay down the best qualifying line he can. He said yesterday, I spoke to Rittinen earlier in the paddock, and he said, do you know the only problem I had yesterday in qualifying? He said, my head. He said, I got in my own head, I couldn't throw down. He said, and I wanted to put down the best run I could, and I just couldn't get it out. Well, here we go. Look at this from Kavir on the back bumper. Oh, already body paddles exchanged as Kavir hits Juha Rittinen. He hits him again on the transition. They slow down massively. Oh, and Rittinen checks up, and Kavir says, let's keep going, buddy. Gives him a nudge and pushes him into that outside zone. Kavir is on an absolute mission. Fires through that inner zone. Up they go across the line. Well, here we go. It looks like the judges do have a decision. I can see everything getting reset. Slide them left for Rittinen, right for Kavir. Oh, and he's got one more time from Kalas. Oh, it's going to be a one more time. And this time, we know that already Jakub Puszczonski is sitting with a deficit after causing that contact with Conor Falvey. So Conor Falvey now really needs to keep his cool, drive the line and stick as close as he can. As we can see how battered and bruised that GR86 of Jakub Puszczonski is as he sits on the line, absolutely laser focused. He won't want to go out without proving a point. Through the gears he goes, absolutely slamming, flicks the cars across the gear. Look at this, Falvey jumps straight onto the back bumper, now starts to put some aggression onto the side of that GR86. They fire down, a big wobble and waver from Puszczonski as he just about keeps the rear wheels into that zone. And you can see Conor Falvey there, not doing too much, not trying to push too hard, just keeping it safe, just sticking to the line. Now makes a little dive up into the rear end, and across the line they go.
Non-brand.
Non-brand.
Yeah.
That's just a universal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just being extra safe.
Decisions. Who's it going to be, Falvey or Puszczonski? And it looks like it is going to go to Conor Falvey. The Irishman takes down Jakub Puszczonski. And Puszczonski, look, he'll be happy they got the car out for qualifying. He'll be happy that he made it out for the battles. But this young man will be happy that he made it through, and he's now got his eyes set on getting that podium.
And here's my big pick. This is really what I think could be a pretty nuts battle. Naoki Nakamura and Daewin Swanson, Spossen. I think I got that one. That one's tougher than some of the other. Spossen? I'll ask him later. Spossen. I really think this is going to be a fun battle. I really, really do. The way that Nakamura has cleaned things up, he's more aggressive, he's getting more proximity. You know, admittedly, it looked like for the last little bit, he's been fighting the car, not able to get comfortable in it. That is not the case anymore. It's got this thing dialed very quick and very, very close. David just progressing and getting better and better with every run.
He certainly is. Look, and Spossob's been coming up through the ranks, and Spossob, the higher qualifier, decides to take that lead position. But look, don't take your eyes off Nakamura, because he's been looking deadly in this car as they fire through into gear. into initiation, but look at Nakamura well out of formation, almost down the inside there. Had to hold my breath for a second. I thought we were going to see contact way before outside zone 4. Now Nakamura back into formation, back in the flow, but he's very aggressive. Spotop not doing too much too wrong right now, just putting down an incredible lead line and giving Nakamura an opportunity, a big contact across the line. I've just been told over the headset that David Spossop will get a 10-minute technical timeout to go and fix that car, check it over and make sure it's 100%. Nakamura deemed at fault for the contact due to the aggression on that chase. Judges are all in agreement there, nodding their heads, so we will be Nakamura back down the paddock, unable to touch that car or work on it. He's going to have to just roll with it as it is. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to see, Jacob, as they pull to the line. It will be Pavel Korbolinski, the higher qualifier, to lead out Steve Bagsi Biagioni in that 900 horsepower Toyota GT86. That's Pavel Korbolinski. This man renowned for his chase driving.
Yeah.
Very technical, an incredible sim driver, a very good line driver. Once he's in the zone, once he's dialed, this man is absolutely clinical. Bagsy known for that aggressive chase driving, that getting onto the door, forcing the error as he looks cool, calm and collected in the car. Look at this, hands clapped together, he's ready for action. Is Bagsy back for 2025 in Drift Masters? The anti-lag on from the back of that Toyota GT86 as he creeps across the line and they get the green light to go. And look at this, they're side by side as Korbolinski smokes the tyres, Bagsy through the gears. Look at that little flick to initiation. Bagsy not too far behind now as Korbolinski puts that car right to the edge of the circuit. Bagsy on the back bumper, dials more angle into outside zone 4. Korbolinski struggling to get the back end of that S14 where it needs to be. Now gets himself on to that qualifying line. Bagsy adapts. Oh, big dive from Bagsy. Just about holds it together, jumps onto the back bumper across the line. We're back on the line with Steve Bagsi Biagioni and Pavel Korbolinski, who now has to chase down Bagsy. Start line Marshall Master gives them the thumbs up. We wait for that green light. As you can see, both cars on the anti-lag, cars in gear, they get the green light, it's go. As they cross that line, you can see Korbolinski being told by the spotters, you need to be close, you need to be aggressive. Smoking tyres already for Bagsy as he fires down, but look at Korbolinski, he's dangerous in that chase position. He almost impedes Bagsy though, as they transition to outside zone 4. Bagsy dials the back end of the 86 right where it needs to be. He's given Korbolinski all the opportunity, and Korbolinski is with him, tags the door. They fire through outside zone 7. Korbolinski falls back into formation, onto the rear wheel and across the line. There we go, decisions in. Left for Bagsy, right for Korbolinski. Who's it going to be? David Kalasis, Korbolinski. It's going to be Pavel Korbolinski. Gets the win, advances through. And it is going to be, I'm guessing, down to that aggression in the chase position. And yeah, an agreement from the judges, just that chase is where it needed to be. Cool. We're back on the start line.
He's going to have his hands full, though. Kevin Passeur and Mika Keskakorpi will be one of the two drivers that he'll be going against.
Two very, very similar cars. Two very similar-ish powers. Yeah.
It looks like the track width is a little wider, though, on Mika Keskakorpi's car. Could just be the way the body looks, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. They're on the line. It's going to be Kevin Passeur, who told me that this year, again, he's hunting for another podium. He's hunting for a championship this year. He was close last year, but unfortunately, after Spain, kind of fell off the radar a little bit. Mika Keskakorpi, a brand new build. It looks identical to the car he drove last year. He said it feels better than the car he had last year because it's lighter and it has more power. He said, all I'm doing is putting fuel and tyres on the car and keep going out, and it's just working for me. Through the gears they come, and look at this, Keskakorpi onto the back bumper. Nice initiation as Mika Keskakorpi looks for the side of Kevin Passeur's BMW. They fire through into outside zone 4. Now Keskakorpi starts to apply the pressure. He's very deep though. He's lost a little ground. He has to regain it as they fire through. An early transition from Mika Keskakorpi as he goes to put rear wheel to rear wheel, and Keskakorpi gets lost in the smoke. Yeah, I mean, look, once you're in that smoke, it's hard to find yourself back, and I think that's what happened to Mika Keskakorpi down there. He kind of got lost in the smoke, couldn't work out where he was, but look, he's now in that lead position. Now it's time to throw down. Kevin Passeur not doing a whole lot wrong out front as he starts to creep off that start line already. They get the green light ready to go as Keskakorpi fires through the gears. The man from Finland, opportunity to lay down. Nice initiation. Look at this, he's up and gone already. As Kevin Passeur dives through the smoke and looks for a nice line from Keskakorpi this time in that lead position. Look at this, some ground opened up as Keskakorpi now starts to throw down a heater, and Kevin Passeur starts to panic and needs to find a dive, needs to take a bite outside that car, and he does, right across the line. There we go, decisions in, left for Korpi, right for Passeur. There's one vote for Kevin Passeur already, and there we go, Kevin Passeur, ladies and gentlemen, get the win, advance through, and I think you're right there. That proximity again, that just comes into play. I think if you're able to chase closely on this track, the judges are going to favour you. So there's elation down in the Spossop camp, and that is because the news is just broken. Naoki Nakamura has been ruled out of competition by our race director. The car unsafe for competition due to some bent suspension on the car. So David Spossop gets the win and will advance through to the top 16. He won't need to complete a buy run. He obviously proved his car could work. Yeah. And you can see there the car is on the ground ready to go, but they have said to him, look, don't panic. Make sure that car's 100%. And Naoki Nakamura out of competition. So we are done for that half the battle. This is it, the final one more time battle between these two guys. They couldn't get it done in the first half. They were exchanging punches, but now it's time to punch themselves into the top 16.
Yeah, this is a great way to wrap up top 32 here with two incredible drivers, both on heaters, both driving to a level that we haven't seen yet this weekend, just very aggressive, basically pushing each other around the track, blowing up body parts, and just putting on a show for everybody here in Spain. And that's, if you're going to wrap up top 32, what a great pair of drivers to do it with. Yeah,
exactly that. So here we go, Torani Kavia, the higher qualifier, sitting in that lead position, sticks to what he knows as Juha Rintanen now. Well, they've felt each other out a little bit. Rintanen, the same rinse and repeat. Little two-fist pump on the steering wheel, does it every time. A little nod to our start line Marshall Martin to say, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Do you mean rinse and repeat?
Rinse and repeat. Oh, I like it. I like it. Feel like a little bit of Dave coming through there. And yeah, here we go. Fires through. Torani Kavia, big initiation. Dialed some grip into that car. Oh, wow. But look at that from Rintanen, straight in there as he jumps onto the side of Kavia's 180SX. He knows he needs that proximity. He knows he needs to be aggressive as they both fire down to 7. Look at that dive again from Juha Rintanen, almost onto the front wheel as Kavia takes it across the line. Well, here we go. This could be the final run of our top 32 as they pull to the line. Rintanen sits in that lead position. Kavia knows what he needs to do. He doesn't need to overdrive the car, not be too aggressive, just gain that proximity. Would have seen and heard from the spotters saying, look, Rintanen was there, he was with you. He needs to throw down a nice lead line. If the door's open, you need to take a step in. Open the door, Tor. We're off and through the start line, through the gears they go. As look at Torani Kavia already on the back bumper of that GR86. They fire through. Big angle from both guys as they now dance across the circuit. An early transition from Torani Kavia to make sure he's in the pocket, into the groove. And he's on the rear wheel of Juha Rintanen as Rintanen absolutely trying to drive away, but he can't lose Torani Kavia. And Kavia goes for it onto the rear bumper across the line. Well, here we go. The guys out of the car. Neither of these guys know what way it's going to go. Slide them left for Kavia, right for Juha Rintanen. Who's going to be in the top 16? It's going to be Juha Rintanen. Rintanen gets the win, advances through, and he takes out our third place qualifier. And look what it means to the Finnish driver as Juha Rintanen says, that was tough. Yeah, he even does a sigh of relief, and that will be an upset for Torani Kavia. He wanted to do a real championship fight this year, and it already started off bittersweet for him, out of competition in top 32. Well, there we go. That finally is our top 32 done and dusted.